as the poet in cinema. They try to put forth or flash forth, they try to flash forth like sudden flash of consciousness his own poetry through the cinematographic art. In India, we are still waiting for that kind of cinema. This cinema is termed as classic cinema or poetic cinema or now twilight cinema. So in India, one film I can remember here, that is Kanchan Sita. Kanchan Sita by G.R. Vedan. That is one good example or replica for this topic, myth and mythology. And another films are, if you wish to go through, that is Seven Seal by Ingmar Bergman. Bergman is from Sweden. Then Stalker by Andrei Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky is from Russia. And then third is Krzysztof Kieslowski. Kieslowski is from Poland. He was Polish. So Bergman has so many films, but in this reference, we can go through this film, Seven Seal, and Persona if you like. Then second is Stalker by Tarkovsky. Then the Decalogue, based on 10 Commandments by Bible, created by Kieslowski, and other film is Double Life of Heroin. After these three filmmakers, we can have some more young film directors like Kim Ki-duk from South Korea and this Aziz in the lineage of Tarkovsky, Russia. I think most of you are not familiar with these names. So my request is, if you go through, you can have a perspicuous language of understanding cinema or the essence of cinema. It's settled with the vision exactly as the vision of our Indian poets or Bharatiya Kavya. So here on this dais for this seminar, I am thankful for the organizers, the entire team, Purima ji and Swamini ji and others, Meena ji, this head of the department, Kamala ji. So I am familiar to this premise and place. So my request is, if you are able to have some time for this particular kind of cinema, which is twilight cinema or commercial cinema, not commercial cinema, but and not art cinema, but classic cinema, then these are my suggestions, and these are my views, not my views, but the vision, encapsulated in vision for the seers, to respect the seers. Because when we look at, when we deliver the term myth or mythology, we look at the past. But hermeneutics or Mimamsa, or the vision of Mimamsa, or the reception theory helps us to look at anything here and now, which is not history but itihas. As here in this same premises, Thakur Jagdev Singh ji explained this term, why itihas is different from history. I think in the beginning, very beginning, these points, these encapsulated sentences are enough for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Kumar Vimalendu Singh, a renowned poet and scholar and author of bestsellers like Main Vidrodi, Main Yayavar, and Even Distress, never fails to surprise with his potential potential in artistic endeavors. He has presented many inimitable papers in many national and international seminars, and his articles are published in many journals of repute. Apart from his emphatic presence across the nation in the academic and literary circles, he has done appreciable stints with Doordarshan Dil India Limited, theatre and musical concerts. Dr. Singh has conducted more than 700 workshops across the nation for the educators on poetry, drama and story.
I do voiceover for films. I'm in close connection with films as there is, but my arena is a bit different. I have never differentiated commercial movies or wherever I get time, the opportunity, I do the project and I do the things. So, for listeners, I would like to draw your attention that definition is already given and that is beautifully said. And sir, as you were not agreeing with that term, art, cinema, similarly it was I don't agree with the term character artist. If an artist is playing a character, every artist is a character artist. So to be precise, playing a character, every artist is a character artist. So to be precise and to be concise and to state in a nutshell, I will be exemplifying few films. And to state in a nutshell, I will be exemplifying few films, history, mythology, and culture. Of course, culture is a bigger term. History is also a very big term, and mythology is, as we all know, is a big term. As far as cinema is concerned, I will try to keep it within the arena of cinema only. In 1988, the American Historical Review, a great critic, Hayden White, wrote an article and he coined the term historiography. And that term is very significant, that has become significant these days. Historiography and historiography. There are two ways to understand how to go through history. Historiography, when the written history is available and the primary sources are available on the basis of which you study history. And historiography, that means an artist or a person who is having that artistic capability within him, he has having that artistic liberty, and he or she can present the version, his or her version of history with the help of pictures or films. That has given a sort of liberty to the filmmakers, and that liberty has been misused by our filmmakers in our country, that I must say. Because I never find any historical movie made in a brilliant manner in our nation. Recently we saw a few of the films like Prithviraj Chauhan, that was based on that. Whenever I imagine Prithviraj Chauhan, on the basis of reading those primary sources, I imagine him like myself, a big tall guy, a heavy guy, who is wielding sword in his hand. तो कभी-कभी मैं तलवार पकड़ के लेता था. Anyway, so but the thing is that the man who portrayed, you all know who portrayed him. Neither his voice nor his personality was able to depict Prithviraj Chauhan, nor his dialogue delivery. I wasn't talking with Mr. Chandra Prakash Dwivedi who directed him. This was a part of historiography. With the help of film, he was trying to portray the life of Prithviraj Chauhan. Similarly, I can talk about Ashoka, a film made in which Shah Rukh was playing Ashoka. Whenever, because my hometown is Patna, Patliputra, the first capital of India, as we say it. I don't know, the people who are teaching history, they will be more precise about that. But we are being taught about that. Patna was the first capital, Patliputra was the first capital of India. Whenever I imagine Ashoka, again I imagine the tall, heavy figure. Many types of films we are yet to see in our country. I agree with that. In 1915, when talking films were not made, silent movie era was there. Movie, I can say, because pictures were moving on the screen, but they were not speaking. That was silent movie. A movie came in America that the name of the movie was The Birth of a Nation, a very famous movie. It was directed by D.W. Griffith, and one of the most beautiful ladies on earth, Lillian Gish, was the heroine. About which some critics said that the close-up of her fingernail can overlap the beauty of all other beautiful women in this world. She was beautiful, really. You can Google her and see her. So, this is not the topic. Lilian Gish was the actress. And what we do today that we take liberties, as Studio 40 grants you liberty, and in the name of that liberty, we distort it. So what we get, suppose we, in our generation or say when I was in college or when many of us were in colleges and my school friends, we read books or we saw a few good serials made like Discovery of India and and many other sources were there. But in present times, if a kid is growing up and he will see Ashoka and Prithviraj Chauhan like this as it is shown on the screen, his imagination will show something different, which was not like that actually. So history of what is misleading us. That is one of the concerns. History has always been a subject, an interesting subject as such as history and itihas. They are two different things because he was defining it in Indian context and I agree with that. Just recording past because the author of the novel on which it was based, the novel was Mare Gaye Gulfan by Phaneshwar Nath Renu. He was from my state, that's why I'm part of that movie, and Raj Kapoor came to our state and they shot that movie, few portions of that. In that movie also, so the main plot is based on a popular folklore of Mahua Ghatwaran. And there is one beautiful song. You see how one beautiful song, just few lines and the whole story is depicted. That was crest of art. The novelist is whenever a movie or a film is made on the basis of a novel, everywhere in an interview I have seen novelists or the writers complaining that this movie was not up to the mark. It did not justify the novel, or something like that. But Phaneshwar Nath was very glad when this movie was made. He was the only novelist who said that I am thoroughly satisfied this movie was well made. So one song was there of Mahua Ghatwaran. So I am just summarizing it with that song for you all. Just listen to the song and try to grab that. The whole movie, the whole plot of the movie was based on this. And it is a traditional song also. It is sung in many of the villages till now in some different manner. And the song was like that in the movie. I'm singing that for you to make it a bit interesting. That song was Jaye base परदेस सजनवा सौतन के फरमाए जाए बसे परदेस सजनवा सौतन के फरमाए ना संदेश न कोई खबरिया रुत आए रुत डूब गए हम बीच भंवर में डूब गए हम बीच भंवर में करके 16 पार सजनवा बैरी हो गए Just these 4 lines and the whole movie is defined. So it was the beautiful use of that folk song. And the whole story, 3 stanzas were there, the whole story was based on that. So there are many things to talk about, and as it began in a classical manner, classical is the term as you said, I was really impressed by how you define those things and how in our culture it is different. And so there are many other things to be said and to be discussed. I tried to make it shorter by exemplifying a few of the movies that I saw that I watched. For those movies, I wrote some articles that got published, and this was my understanding of use of history, myth, and culture in cinema. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really wonderful to listen to you, and also your song added the grace to the work. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. S. Chitra, who was an assistant professor in English at Sherifske College, Royal University of Bhutan, and the program leader in the Department of English, Yonphulak Centenary College, Royal University of Bhutan. service record includes teaching expertise in English literature and language, along with curriculum design and course development. Her areas of exploration include cultural studies, contemporary literature, post-colonial studies, European literature, women and gender studies, with avid interest to embrace the emerging areas in humanity. She has completed the following funded research projects. The first one titled A Study on English Language Proficiency Level of the Students of Sheriff State College and Resource Requirement for the Proposed Learning Center, which was completed under Faculty and Student Enhancement Project funded by Government of India. She has an impressive record of her meritorious academic achievements. She has conducted storytelling sessions as an initiative to promote folk traditions among the adolescents and to preserve the folk tales, has directed the Shakespearean tragedy Macbeth, and her team won the first prize. She, in terms of research, Chitra ma'am has secured second position in the Fast Rep project presentation, and the Best Dissertation Certificate was awarded to her scholar for the master's dissertation titled Juxtaposition of Sexual and Ethnic Crisis in Sam Salvador's Funny Boy. She is also an IELTS trainer and has completed the Teaching Knowledge Test certified by the University of Cambridge. She has edited the following book, Reaching New Heights Through Policy Research and Practice, and was published by Institute of Gross National Happiness. She has also co-edited a book on ecocentric literature, Writing for the Green World, released in December 22, and the associate author of the book titled Orator as Testimony, published in 23. She has published over 50 plus research articles in book chapters, journals, conference volumes, and presented papers in 60 plus international and national conferences. She has been overseas examiner for doctoral thesis and also member in Board of Studies. Ma'am, I would like to invite you for your enlightening lecture.
Thank you very much for this extensive introduction about me. I feel humbled. Good morning, a very warm good morning to everyone present, dignitaries on the dais, on the floor, and to all the research scholars and members from different colleges, India and abroad present here for this wonderful seminar. I'm basically an Indian, but serving in Bhutan. That's what my service record has stated. So you might be wondering, who am I? How many of you have visited Bhutan? Or how many of you know about Bhutan? Okay. Vimlin sir, while traveling, he was saying he visited Thimphu. That's good to know because I'm going to talk about Bhutan. So if you look at the map and the geographical location of Bhutan, it's a very tiny country in the Himalayas, a very small country. Can you guess the population? It's just 7.5 lakh. So in a hilly terrain of ups and downs, this is a country with monarch, a kingdom in the Himalayas known as the last Shangri-La that preserves its culture and sovereignty, and it remained as an isolated country for many, many centuries and years, and opened up to modernization only in 1960s. It opened its doors, and now it is developing rapidly. I am giving this introduction to set the note for my talk. Like Bhutan, that is usually described as sandwiched between two giant nations, that is India and China, today my talk is also sandwiched between the two stalwarts who spoke before me from the film world and literary theories. And yesterday we had wonderful lectures and Professor Prakash is here. I listened to myth and history. The tension between myth and history was the keynote, and followed by folklore, which sets the tone for oral narratives, which is quite vibrant and an important topic, and then Occident and Oriental perspective of myth. To add to this, I am going to I thought that will add some new insights to academicians and to research scholars to know something about the mythical beliefs that prevail in this small nation. So from grand narratives, I will be basically shifting my focus to a minor narrative as stated. But before that, this conference is significant. As stated by everyone since yesterday, this conference is significant for me in more than one ways. Firstly, the shift in date. The earlier date was in December. The shift in date from December to January enabled me to be physically present in the conference, and it is a blissful coincidence of falling on Jan 22nd. It is blissful in a way we all know. And secondly, I am from Tamil Nadu and my mother tongue is Tamil. So the revival of Kashi Tamil literary tradition, from that Tamil community I am able to represent myself in this seminar and add a it's okay. So I have only few images. No, I have a few slides. So I am not going to take you through the definition as it has been defined. What is myth, mythology, it has been defined. But as humans, what we are, the mind of man is man. So we are basically meaning seekers. And as meaning seekers, we are also myth creators. So this is very well defined by M.H. Abrams in literary criticism and theory by saying, we want to know about the world around us, the universe, and about the creation of the universe, about the society, and then ourselves. We want to know about ourselves. In this sense, myth plays a vital role, and cultural essence is the foundation for myths, folklores, and for oral narratives as such. To know about our social customs and observances, it paves the foundation for it. And this is part and parcel of the culture in Bhutan. It is a very vibrant cultural society where oral tradition is very strong till date. And since most of the knowledge is transmitted through oral tradition, now since 1990s, writers are emerging, and these emerging writers are trying to collect the tales, songs, riddles, and there are proverbs and sayings known as lose, and mythical beliefs and mythical stories are being collected and documented gradually. So the written literature is very limited. Therefore, academia is now stepping up to conduct research in this field, and we are trying to collect and document the resources before the traditional knowledge keepers are born, or the wisdom of oral tradition will be deteriorating with their demise, because mostly the older generation are the traditional knowledge keepers of these stories. So in that effort, my team has done a collaborative research project, and this book is the outcome of that research project. This collaborative research is done between two institutions. I am from Sheratse College, which is located in eastern Bhutan, and we collaborated with St. Joseph's College in Darjeeling, and I proposed this initiative when this collaboration happened and came up with an initiative back in 2017. But now in between, due to COVID and other things, we could not publish it until 2022, and this last year only this book materialized. It consists of mainly folklores and folk tales and folk songs. Therefore, I thought of touching upon myths in my talk, which is less touched upon in this book. So, like this, we are engaged in certain research activities. My presentation is basically an outcome of the research by my students. And whenever we do research on folklore and myth, we directly get into the field. That is the empirical studies and action research. From sociological background, we do action research by going to the field, talking to the people with the community. We spend some time with the community and then we collect the data and then analysis will happen. But as an outsider, I had certain challenges and limitations. Though I proposed this research, in between, in the middle of that, I have to step aside because of the language barrier. So my students are sent to different parts. Dzongkha is the national language of Bhutan, which has Tibetan origin, and Choki is the script. It is the script that originates from Tibet, and most of the religious scriptures are in Choki script, which is known to read and write by lamas. So we have to depend on lamas who also work in Dzongkha department in our college, which has arts and humanities. That is the language department other than English. It's being the national language. So we have to work with other disciplines to come up with this book, and with students from different Dzongkhas, that means different districts where dialects are spoken. There is minor variation in dialect, so we have to pick and choose students who can speak the dialect to collect the information, and then it has to be transliterated and then translated into English, which is a two-step process in order to come up with such a book. That is also the reason for the duration that the research took to materialize. And when it comes to action research, qualitative approach is used to come up with such a study, and purposive sampling is adopted, and semi-structured interview is also conducted to collect the data. And the community, I'm going to talk about a small community known as Yenfu, where a lakam, a temple, a Buddhist monastery, a Buddha vihar is located, and in this there are only 38 households in this valley, and of which 33 persons who are rooted to this place for generations together are selected for the study, and they were interviewed by dividing them into 7 focus groups. So my students went and interviewed these community members, but due to their heavy farming schedules, they could not be met at our own convenience. So there is an annual ritual, a puja that will be conducted in every household during particular months. At that time, the community will come and gather there. So we selected that day, which brings them all together, and there we met them, divided them into groups, and conducted this interview to collect the data. This is how data collection happens in the field by means of qualitative research study. And this particular lakam is known for 6 or 7 myths. But interestingly, though we interviewed older generations, the origin of the lakam, none of them except one group who came up with this origin. And the myths in Bhutan, their mythical beliefs are and everything is so closely connected with religion that they share a close proximity. I can tell you this with the help of the origin myth. How this lakam came into existence, there is a small story. In most of the lakams in Bhutan, every stone has a story. And the stories are connected with gurus and saints. And the origin of these saints are from Tibet. And one particular saint known as Guru Padmasambhava, who is also known as second Buddha, had Indian origin, but then he settled in Tibet and learnt Vajrayana Buddhism, and this is the influence of Buddhist principles in Bhutan. And this Vajrayana Buddhism talks about meditation, and it also talks about demons and spirits. In the 7th century, Guru Padmasambhava came to Bhutan. In the pre-modern Bhutan, before that, Bodhism was in practice, which was related to nature, and all forms of nature were worshipped. and this practice continues till today, and this is prevalent in the mythical stories. Then when Guru Padmasambhava came in the 7th and 8th centuries, he tried to spread Buddhism. This is how Buddhism was institutionalized as a religious practice, and considerably Buddhism and animistic practices were reduced. Then in the 15th and 16th centuries, other saints like Drukpa Kunle, who is known as Divine Madman, he propagated some of the principles of Buddhism. And there is another guru known as Nawang Shabdrung, who is from Tibet, and he is known as the unifier of Bhutan. He unified the different divisions, internal feuds and divisions within Bhutan, and created oneness in the community, which showcases the cultural myths are the strong binding force of the community. It not only stands for the society, but for the national oneness and for the identity of the people also. So they preserve their oral tradition to the core and practice it and preserve it and connect it with the modern influences also. I will be talking about eco-spirituality, where spirituality is connected with environmental concerns, and some of the environmental threats are mitigated with the help of the spiritual myths and the association between deep ecology and spiritual philosophy tries to address these concerns. So this origin myth talks about a small village. In this village there were demons, some malicious spirits were trying to attack the people who come to reap bamboos. And that time this old saint located himself in that village. He constructed a small lakam and meditated there, and he killed the mother demon first, who had 9 sons. After killing the mother demon, the 9 sons wanted to avenge her death, and then the old man just introduced himself to them by saying, "I can help you to find out the old man who killed your mother. He will be near the lakam." But and then he made the dead body of the ogress near the lakam. He just kept her and covered her with banana leaves and made it look like a forest. And the 9 brothers were sharpening their stones, and they pelted that from a distance, thinking that is the old man, and they killed their own mother with the stones. Then the Lama used his prayers and mantras to subdue the spirits. So like this, every lakam will have a story about demons and about spirits, and how the gurus are trying to subdue the spirits in order to bring peace and harmony in the community, and people worship these gurus to protect themselves, seeking protection, and every village has a local guardian deity, and the prayers are offered to these guardian deities. Let me read a very short passage, because the offering that is made to the deity is important, and one such offering is food. Recently I participated and spoke in a food conference where I talked about the food and the cultural heritage in Bhutan, where chili and cheese are the principal ingredients of their food. There is a book known as Chili and Cheese that talks about the society of Bhutan. So in addition to it, indigenous alcohol is made in every home. So wine in the sense alcohol offering is also made in the lakams, other than the food items that were. Meat is also offered. So let me read that passage about the offering. This is done in most of the districts. The Yangsipas offer milk to their regional babies. So how this offering is done? Right after milking the cow, they take a twig with some leaves to make the offering. With their right hand, they dip the twig in the bucket of milk and sprinkle the milk in the air while uttering words of offering. So this offering is to the local guardian deities. So this is how offering is made. And sometimes when they take this offering to the lakam, because it is produced in every household, they make it, and if they decide to take this oath to the Lakam to seek the protection of the deities, they have to maintain this myth by taking them. So this gives certain value education to the younger generation who tend to question the meaning of the myths these days. It is said if you decide something, you have to do it. So if you decide to take the Sarkam to the Lakam, then take it, then do it. Keep up the promise. This is how value education is also imparted to younger children by teaching about their own folk tales and their mythical beliefs as in the curriculum as part of their green value education. Another myth that prevails in this Lakam, other than origin myth and Sarkam myth, that is the offering of wine, is Seichu. Seichu is the festival that is celebrated in these monasteries for 3 days. It is done in every part, across Bhutan, in all the monasteries. This kind of festivals will be organized at different points of time. Mostly for 3 days, these festivals will be conducted, known as Seichu. And during these Seichu, mass dance performances will happen. These mass dances are known as charm. And some mass dances are very well known and significant. They carry deeper religious connotations and meanings. So it is a must-watch performance for the citizens, and people from that locality and from the nearby regions come together. It is a get-together for them, a community binding for the people, and they witness the mask performances that happen, and such masks are produced. It is the mask of demon, the mask of animals, only the heads. They will wear that mask, and then the group will train themselves in dancing in bare feet during winter, and they form circle and they make these dances. These dances are loaded with significance because as Buddhists they believe in life, death and afterlife. So mostly it talks about death. So the judgment day after death and after life, how rebirth will take place, because the consciousness will not leave the body immediately after the death. So 49 days will be given. 49 days is 49th day in Tibetan belief is known as Bodo. So this, I'll take 5 minutes. So this Bodo myth, they will do lot of rituals in between. 14th day, 21st day, and then 49th day, the soul will, the consciousness will depart. The soul will depart from the body, it accepts, and no longer with the body. So the time for the acceptance is given, and it is conducted through rituals. And on 49th day, it will take another life, another form of life is the belief. So this will be enacted in the form of a dance performance. And on the last day, a tongdral, that means a scroll will be unfurled on the side of the Lakam, and whether illiterate or literate, whoever it is, all of them are very staunch in their belief, and they go and visit that tongdral early in the morning because it helps in liberation from your sin and from your suffering is the belief. So like this, archery is the game, national game. So before playing archery match also offerings are made, and after match people visit the Lakam whether they win or lose. So that's the value and gratitude that they pay back to the deities. So in every aspect of their life, worship and deities and mythical beliefs are strongly prevalent and inherent. And to talk about the last one, spiritual, eco-spirituality, due to animistic beliefs, their belief in the nature, form of deities in the form of nature like flora, fauna, air, water, mountains. So this is also preserved. The lake, water bodies, these are preserved. The propitiation and the initiation is done by burning the pine leaves so that the holy smoke reaches the heaven and it brings and propitiates the deities is another belief. So this is how offerings are made, and in certain sacred groves the forest is preserved because deities are residing in that forest is the belief. So the 60% of forest cover should be maintained at any time is the mandate. It is a codified law. But in addition to that, due to such mythical beliefs, trees are not cut down and the mountains are worshipped and the forest is preserved. So when we enter into Bhutan, it is a green world in the true sense of the term, because these are the beliefs that also help in preserving, along with the concept of GNH, gross national happiness, which has 9 domains, and one of the domain is culture and another is environmental preservation. So in a nutshell, this is how things work in Bhutan, and these are the areas that we are focusing on research in addition to oral tradition. Hope I had thrown some insights about this new area which will be helpful for you to explore in cinema, in academia, in every different fields from where the audiences are here. As a token of gratitude, I would like to donate this book to the Department of English. Let me request our HOD ma'am to take this book. Thank you. Thank you. It has more details and you can consult this.
Thank you, ma'am, for opening a new avenue to us. We got to know a lot about Bhutan from you. Thank you. Okay. Next, our presidential address will be given by Dr. Veena Singh, and I would like to say a few words about her. She is the former head of the Department of English, VKM, and she has 40 years of teaching English language and literature. Her area of interest are American literature, Indian literature, feminist literature, and other world literature. She has published 9 books, 3 on English literature and language, and 5 poem anthologies. Her latest publication is a book of Hindi poems titled Pighlte Lamhe. Dr. Singh is member of various academic and socio-cultural bodies, life member of Theosophical Society of India, and also the president of Lions Club Varanasi Tulsi. She believes in education as service, especially serving the suffering, because it gives the desired contentment. Literature is her passion and poetry first love. She believes that poetry heals the afflicted. She is also a recipient of several national and international awards and honored for her creative endeavor and service to education. Just to mention a few, Ms. Dr. Singh received Rashtriya Gaurav Samman 2023 in Delhi on 30th November 2023, organized by AKP Media Partners for her service to education and humanity. Rabindranath Tagore Award for Poetry 2019, honor for poetry at Toshali Literature Festival at Bhubaneswar, and guest of honor at Lido Poetry Festival Assam in September 23. Now I would like to mention some of the books which she has written. The first one is In Search, collection of poems, social satire in the novels of Kingsley Amis, The Unsung Melody, Spoken English, a book on situational conversation, Kingsley Amis, the social satirist, Janvi Keeps Me Afloat, anthology of poems, Redemptive Reflections, and also its mean autobiography, hope to be published by August 2024. Ma'am, I welcome you.
It's good to be back. A very warm greeting to my distinguished distinguished speakers, Dr. Gautam, Dr. Vimlen Hussain, Dr. S. Chitra, and the august audience. I can see my senior, Professor Kamla Pandeji, a creative writer, a spiritual thinker as well. I offer my salutation to you, Kamlani, my organizer, convener, Purnima. Really congratulate you for such a good job. And my very dear friend and my successor, the head of the department, Professor Niharika Lal. I can see my very old student Vandana, a senior faculty at DAP College. And of course all my students are sitting here. Supriya is there. And I can see Anuradha, I can see. It will take a long time, we are already running short of time. So I welcome all of you. And once again, thanks to all of you. A very difficult task has been assigned to me to give presidential address. Just to begin with, the artist, I will call you Artist Gautamji. You started very well. A very elaborate, enlightening introduction to the entire theme of the seminar. You covered everything, be it myth, be it literature or history. And the best part that I liked, he started saying that poets are seers. I think all creative artists are seers, and they need a vision to express through their respective art form. And how myth, history, literature, they all become the very frame, I would say. Especially myth becomes that desired frame, that symbol, to portray the vision that the seeker, the poet, the seer or the artist is looking for, how to convey. You put it beautifully. It was very well said, Gautam. And then I come to Vimlen Hussain, a very vibrant, a very lively presentation. You believed, you are a film critic, no doubt, and very honestly you said that you never categorize films, art or commercial. And the way you took us, starting from American film, and coming to Indian Katha and Tisri Kasam, and how literature, myth, folklore, all are embedded in the very structure of that particular film. And yes, as Gautam also said, myth is actually what? It is in the very culture of any society. It is actually the very source of the cultural identity of a particular civilization. And that has been beautifully expressed by both Gautam and Vimlendu. My friend from Bhutan, she talked about the mythical reality of Bhutan. And then how these folklores, the myth, the different religious offerings and rituals and performances, how important they are in defining the Bhutani, identity. That is what you were telling us. And you also focused on that how these folklores became an important source of giving the value education to the students. And how Buddhism gradually entered into Bhutan. So, all of you emphasized and gave with beautiful illustration the importance of myth, history and literature. They are inseparable. We all are. My friends are sitting here. And a very good example, because I am, as she said, that literature is my passion, and that passion was here for 40 years when I was teaching. And a very famous text which is very close to my heart and all my friends would be familiar to it. It is, I'm talking about T.S. Eliot's Wasteland or Joyce's Ulysses. So these are the remarkable example of how myth becomes a very powerful source of structuring the entire creative form, be it a novel or be it the wasteland. I myself am a writer. I won't call myself a writer, but yes, I try to write. Still struggling to write. And already we are running short of time, so not taking much time, it would be just a mere repetition. All of you have heard. I just want to congratulate Gautam, Vindin, and Chitra for giving such an enlightening, informative lectures and bringing the theme of the seminar to their talk. And they were very, very illustrative, all of them, full of illustrations, especially Vimle, with his song, he made the whole atmosphere so lively, We were also, and let me tell you that film is very close to my heart also, the song. And I keep listening to all the songs whenever I get time, So, but I'm not a singer, I'm saying, but with the permission of my HOD and my convener, I would just conclude with a small few lines that I wrote just before Rashtriya Yuva Mahotsav, something that came to my mind, and I know my friends would like to listen, right? So can I? Sure. Okay. Yeah. I believe that I am a romantic mystic. I don't know how true it is, but yes, I take myself to be a romantic mystic. And I believe that life is mystically mysterious, at times challenging, intriguing, and interesting as well. Despite the ups and downs, we believe, or rather I believe, and I want everybody to believe, let the flow go on, let the current move. So this is a small poem. I don't title it. 2 years back I lost my brother. So this is just a poetic tribute to him. Was it just a biological bonding? Was it just a biological bonding or something more? Was it just a temporal knot? Was it just a temporal knot or something beyond? I fail to define, unable to frame it, unable to frame it in black and white. It's true, although it's true that we were siblings, sharing a nature bond. Nevertheless, our bonding was unreal, unusual, beyond the temporal boundaries. Together we sailed through the ups and downs. Yes, growing up was fun with him. Growing up was fun with him. Whether reading a James Hadley Chase or watching a Not 7 movie or cheating in the game of cards. Life was always a celebration with him. Although I was elder to him, yet he treated me as his junior pal. In my weakest moment, he was my Hercules. In my weakest moment, he was my Hercules. Yes, there was something beyond temporal knot. When the inevitable tide swept me off, when the inevitable tide swept me off, he came in, shielding from the bellowing waves, shielding me from the bellowing waves. His presence, the calm shore, where I desired to anchor my bark. His presence, the calm shore, that I longed to anchor my bark. Always the light that dispelled the darkness hovering around me. But one day, my dauntless shelter was breached. Suddenly, silently, the lethal enemy barged in, eroding my fortress. Gradually, the walls crumbled, and my Hercules fell forever. My Hercules fell forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for your heart-touching poem. Now, I would like to give the formal vote of thanks. I would like to thank Dr. Gautam Chatterjee for his lecture on the hermeneutics and the different types of films we have based on cinematography and reality reproduced cinema, which he talked about. I would also like to thank Dr. Vimalendu Kumar Singh for his enriching talk, which ranged from Syam Benegal to Malayalam movie Chennai. Also, mention about the various historiography and historiophoty in the American Historical Review. I would also like to thank Dr. S. Chitra for giving us a profound knowledge on the myths of Bhutan. She discussed her field study, the Buddhism, the charm, the masked dances, the mythical reality, and honestly opened a new avenue for us. I would also like to thank Dr. Veena Singh for her wonderful poem, as I said. I'm very glad to welcome her here, I'll say it always. And I would like to thank the distinguished guest present here in the hall who graced our occasion. I would like to thank Professor Gangatharan sir, Professor Prakash Joshi sir, Professor Anil Kumar Tripathi sir, Professor Vandana Balchandani, Professor Kamla Pandey ma'am, and our and other faculty members of our college, our HOD ma'am Niharika Lal ma'am, Dr. Supriya Singh, our convener Dr. Purnima, and our beloved participants. Thank you so much. The next session will start in a short span of